Hello everyone and welcome. This is Dawn. I'm so glad you could join me. Today I'm going to be using the Whimsy Stamps Connected Tile Frame Die and the Panda Peeker stamp set. You can buy the Panda Peekers die separately, but I don't have them, so I'm just going to cut them out with my brother's Scan and Cut, but you can also easily fussy cut them as well. So let's get started. First, I'm going to die cut the connected tile frame from white cardstock 3 times, and then I'm going to just set them aside for later. I'm going to use the Speckled background red stamp to make the background to my card. I start out by placing a piece of white cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 into my Misty stamping tool. And I place the stamp over the cardstock. If you're using the Misty, make sure to take the foam insert out since the red rubber stamp is so thick. Next, I cover the stamp really good with some black ink, and then I close the Misty and stamp my cardstock. Now I'm going to adhere my 3 white connected heart frames together. I'm doing this to add some dimension to my card. By the way, please disregard the pink pattern paper in the frame. It started out to be a girl's card, and then I decided, you know what, I always make girls' cards and I wanted to make a masculine card instead. So I just saved those inserts for something else. I stamped out the panda I wanted with some Copic friendly black ink, and I cut it out with my brother's Scan and Cut. Then I stamped out 3 of these balloons and the cake from the Bunny birthday stamp set, and then I die cut them out using the matching die set, but you can easily fussy cut them out as well. I colored a yellow, green, and blue balloon using my Copic markers, and then I used my white jelly roll pen to make a white line onto all the balloons. To color in the panda, I used Copic marker C7 for the inner ears and the panda's nose and the outline of the body. I colored in the rest of his body and ears around the eyes with C5 marker, just kind of blending it as I go. Then I decided I wanted his inner ears and nose to be darker, so I went back and I colored them in with the C9 marker. I colored the inside of his mouth with C3 around the edge, and then I used C1 to just blend it, and then I used R11 for his tongue. I shaded the inside of his eyes with C1 around the edge, and then number 0 to blend it all together. I colored in the rest of his body with W3 for the outer edge, and then I blended it with some W1. Here is where I start to assemble the card. I trimmed the speckled background down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I cut a piece of black cardstock to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I took a pair of scissors and I cut the 2 straight pieces off of the panda so it fit better inside the frame. And as I started to assemble the card, I didn't like how the white frame looked. I decided to cut another connected tile frame from black cardstock, and I thought this made it stand out much better. To make the balloons much easier to handle, I cut a little piece of scrap paper and I add some glue to it, and I adhere the balloons onto the paper. This makes it much easier to make it look like a bunch of balloons that are nice and neat looking, and you're not struggling to get them in the right place and they're not moving all around. And once I attach the 2 balloons, I see how much of the scrap paper I need, and then I trim away the excess paper that I don't need, and then I just adhere the last balloon to it. I adhere the black frame on top of the white frame. You can see the white frame while doing this, but you don't really notice them once the card is assembled. I don't mind this look, but you could use all black cardstock if it bothers you. I adhere the speckled background to the black cardstock, and then I adhere the connected frames to the speckled background, not putting a lot of glue onto the bottom tile so I can insert the panda. Then I put the inner white pieces of the connected frames inside the frame. I put glue on the back of the panda except for his hand, and I adhere him inside the bottom tile. I just lift it up a little to slide the panda in, and then I just go back and seal up the bottom with a little bit of the glue. I put foam tape on the back of the balloons, and then I just lift the panda's hand up to insert the balloons behind it. I colored the cake off screen to save some time, and I put foam tape on the back of the cake and I just adhered it to the front of the card. To heat emboss my sentiment, I rub my black cardstock with my embossing powder bag. I stamp the sentiment with Versamark ink, and then I cover it with silver embossing powder. And then when my heat tool is good and hot, I emboss the sentiment. I trim the sentiment down to the size that I want. I put foam tape on the back of it and then adhere it to the card front. And to finish off the card, I'm using this awesome confetti called Whimsy. It's from my friend's company called It Calls for Confetti. And this particular mix is an exclusive to Whimsy stamps. And I'm just going to adhere some randomly onto the front of the card. Then I take the card front and I adhere it to a piece of A2 size cardstock. And that's going to complete my card for today. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed my card. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of it. We would love for you to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their website for all their new releases. And as always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.